Good morning, dear students. Myself is Sumit, and today we'll be doing the second chapter, biological classification. In today's lecture, we'll basically talk about some of the part of kingdom Protista. In the last lecture, we talk about kingdom Protista and about Chrysophytes and dinoflagellates, and in today's lecture we'll be talking about Euglenoids, slime molds and protozoans, which all are included under kingdom Protista. Kingdom Protista is divided into 5 subgroups. The first one is Chrysophytes, which are usually algae, golden brown algae or golden algae, which are somehow also known as diatoms or desmids. These are unicellular organisms having a cell wall. And the second one is the dinoflagellates, which is usually photosynthetic and marine protozoans, which appears usually yellow, green, brown, blue or red, depending on the pigment present in their cells. Red dinoflagellates can cause the red tide. In today's lecture, we first discuss about euglenoids. The most common example of euglenoids is Euglena, and Euglena is usually the link between plants and animals. Euglena have the characters of both plants as well as of animals, so it is usually a link between plants and animals. Euglenoids are present in fresh waters. They are usually the freshwater organisms and found in the stagnant water. They do not bear a cell wall. Instead of a cell wall, they have a protein rich layer called pellicle. So ये क्वेश्चन पूछा भी जाता है कि यूग्लिनोइड्स में सेल वॉल को कौन रिप्लेस करता है. द सेल वॉल इज रिप्लेस्ड बाय अ प्रोटीन रिच लेयर which is known as pellicle, and due to the presence of pellicle, their body is very flexible in nature. Euglenoids always have 2 flagella, but the flagella are unequal. It means one flagella is larger and other flagella is smaller. They are very diverse organisms in their mode of nutrition. In the presence of sunlight, they are photosynthetic in nature due to the presence of chloroplast in them, but in the absence of sunlight, they behave like heterotrophic. So whenever there is sunlight, they will become photosynthetic, plant character. Photosynthetic nature is a plant character, while in the absence of sunlight they will become heterotrophic, which is usually a animal character. These have the pigments. Pigments means the coloring agents, which are identical to higher plants. These have the pigments like chloroplast and chromoplast, which is present usually in higher plants, but also these are present in the euglenoids. The most common example is Euglena, and because of the appearance of the plants as well as animal characters, they consider as a link between plants and animals. The next one is slime molds. The name slime molds already indicates slime means kuch, molds means animal. They are somewhat animals, somehow animals. They are usually saprophytic in nature, and as we know that saprophyte means which can take their food from the dead organic matters. So slime molds are the saprophytic protist, and their body, the body moves along decaying twigs and leaves engulfing organic material. तो बॉडी इनकी इसके साथ ही मूव करती हुई चली जाएगी. Under suitable condition, they form an aggregation called plasmodium. A mass is there which is known as plasmodium, and the plasmodium may grow and spread over several feet. बहुत बड़ा ये प्लाज्मोडियम इकट्ठा होते होते बन जाएगा। और ये जो प्लाज्मोडियम है, ड्यूरिंग द फेवरेबल कंडीशन प्लाज्मोडियम फॉर्म एंड ड्यूरिंग अनफेवरेबल कंडीशन द प्लाज्मोडियम differentiates and forms fruiting bodies bearing spores at their tips. The fruiting body is usually present in kingdom fungi. आपने फंजाई की फ्रूटिंग बॉडीज देखी होंगी, आपने मशरूम्स देखे होंगे। तो मशरूम जो पार्ट होता है वो फ्रूटिंग बॉडी होती है, और फ्रूटिंग बॉडी जो होती है वो उसका एक ही बेसिक फंक्शन होता है, द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ स्पोर। सो जैसे फंगस में आप देखते हैं फ्रूटिंग बॉडी स्पोर का प्रोडक्शन करती है, ठीक उसी तरीके से स्लाइम मोल्ड्स में भी प्लाज्मोडियम से फ्रूटिंग बॉडीज बनती हैं, और एंड फ्रॉम these fruiting bodies many of the thousands of the spores get produced. The spores poses true walls. स्पोर्स में प्रॉपर वॉल होगी, एंड ड्यू टू द प्रेजेंस ऑफ प्रॉपर वॉल द स्पोर्स कैन लिव, कैन सर्वाइव फॉर मेनी ईयर्स इवन अंडर द एडवर्स कंडीशन। खराब से खराब कंडीशन में भी ये स्पोर्स जो हैं, क्योंकि देखिए स्पोर्स फॉर्म्ड इन अनफेवरेबल कंडीशन, अगर प्लांट की डेथ भी हो जाए, अगर प्लाज्मोडियम की डेथ हो जाए या स्लाइम मोल्ड की डेथ भी हो जाए, तो भी वो स्पोर्स जो हैं वो अलाइव रहेंगे ड्यू टू द प्रेजेंस ऑफ थिक एंड रिजिड सेल वॉल। और जब तक अनफेवरेबल कंडीशन रहेगी वो ये जो स्पोर्स हैं इस वॉल से प्रोटेक्ट रहेंगे, एंड on the approach of favorable condition the wall cracks, the spore liberated and form new slime molds. The next one, the third, the fifth one, suborder in kingdom Protista is Protozoa, the phylum Protozoa. Protozoans, as it again indicated by its name, proto means primitive, zoans means animals. So these are the primitive relatives of animals. They are the primitive animals. We can also call them the primitive animals, and all protozoans are heterotrophic in nature. Heterotrophic means they cannot make their food own, and they are dependent for their food on other animals or plants. So they are heterotrophic in nature and live as predator or parasites. They may be predator or they may be parasites. Many of the diseases are caused by the protozoans, so included in protozoan diseases. There are 4 major groups of protozoans, which include the Amiboid Protozoans, the Flagellated Protozoans, the Ciliated Protozoans, and the Sporozoans. First, we talk about the Amiboid Protozoans, as it indicated by its name, Amiboid, amoeba-like. So, the common example of Amiboid Protozoan is amoeba. These are live in fresh water, sea water, or moist soil. फ्रेश वाटर में भी ये पाए जा सकते हैं, सी वाटर में भी या मॉइस्ट सॉइल में भी पाए जाते हैं। दे मूव एंड कैप्चर देयर प्रे बाय पुटिंग आउट स्यूडोपोडिया। स्यूडोपोडिया आर फॉल्स फीट, मीन्स आप जानते हैं कि अमीबा का कोई पर्टिकुलर शेप नहीं होता। लेट अस सपोज दिस वन इज एन अमीबा, अगर एंड दिस वन इज अ प्रे, जिसको इनको पकड़ना है, कोई ये छोटा सा यूनिसेलुलर ऑर्गेनिज्म है, तो जब अमीबा इसके क्लोज आता है तो ये फॉल्स फीट इस तरीके का स्ट्रक्चर बना देगा, फॉल्स फीट, और ये स्यूडोपोडिया फिर आपस में यहाँ मिक्स हो जाएंगे पीछे, जिससे ये प्रे इसकी बॉडी के अंदर आ जाएगा। तो ये इसका एक बहुत ही कॉमन तरीका है स्यूडोपोडिया के थ्रू फॉल्स फीट, फिर ये फीट जो है ख़त्म हो जाएंगी प्रे को कैप्चर करने का। So these protozoans live in freshwater, seawater, or moist soil. They move and capture their prey by putting out the pseudopodia or false feet. And the common example of amoeboid protozoan is amoeba. The next one is flagellated protozoans, again indicated by its name, flagellated protozoans, the protozoans which can bear flagella on them. These are free living or parasitic. Either they are free floating in the water or they are parasitic upon some other animals. So the flagellated protozoans are either free living or parasitic, and they have flagella. Um, the parasitic form causes many dangerous diseases, such as a very common disease is known as sleeping sickness, which is caused by which is caused by trypanosoma. So ये important है कि ट्रिपेनोसोमा कौन सी डिजीज फैलाता है, स्लीपिंग सिकनेस, और ट्रिपेनोसोमा किस में आता है, फ्लैजिलेटेड प्रोटोजोअन्स में. The next one is ciliated protozoans. As it again indicated by its name, there is a protozoa in which the body is covered by complete cilia. So this one is ciliated protozoan, and the most common example of ciliated protozoan is paramecium. So again, these are aquatic in nature. These are very, very actively moving organisms, and the movement of their body is due to the presence of thousands of cilia throughout their body, and they have also a cavity known as gullet that opens to the outside. They have a cavity. There is a cavity is there which is known as gullet, and due to the movement of these cilia, the prey enters into the gullet, and from this gullet enters through the body of the paramecium. So they have a cavity that opens to the outside of the cell surface, and the coordinated movement. There is a very, very beautiful movement of the row of cilia. cilia का इसका एक particular movement होता है, जिस movement की वजह से the food which is mixed in water, the water laden with food to be